87% of realtors that get into the business get out of the business after 2 years. That does not exist in our world.
We have massive visions around growing our businesses, and we are always looking to add talent to our world. We do everything in our power to ensure the people we surround ourselves with defy the odds, get into production, and build massive lives for themselves.
We have interviewed some of the top realtors in the world. If you're a new realtor, a top producer, or CEO of a mega team, Sales Beast Podcast is your blueprint for success.
With locations all across Canada, reach out to us to talk about partnership and opportunities. We are looking forward to it.
Yes, I'm the boss.
Welcome back to Sales Beast. Today we have an awesome guest. Sue Mclay is joining us. We're excited to hear her story. Welcome, Sue.
Hi, guys. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me on Sales Beast. I've seen your podcast, heard your podcast, so I'm excited to now be on this side of the show.
For sure. We're super excited. So jumping into it, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your journey in real estate.
Yeah, real estate was actually never my initial plan. I went to school for marketing and strategic management at the Schulich School of Business. I grew up around this industry. My mom's a realtor. My grandparents were both realtors. On my mom's side, my aunt, my brother, as a lot of you guys know, Tyler's a realtor as well. And when I was young, I was really shy. So I never really thought it would be the right choice for me, the right fit. And then in school, they also didn't really place an emphasis on sales. I found like it was accounting, finance first, and then even marketing was kind of like, okay, tier two. So sales was really never a focus. And once I graduated university, I got what I thought was my dream job in marketing, and I hated it. I hated it. Like, great people, met a lot of great people. There was good things to it and good parts to it, but it was a sales and marketing kind of dual job, and I gravitated to the sales portion immediately. I loved client-facing roles. I liked talking to people. I liked finding solutions for people. And I realized if my passion was in sales, I might as well, follow suit and join the family business and get into real estate, which was about 5 years ago, and I couldn't imagine doing another job now.
Wow, that's super exciting. So 5 years. How long were you in that marketing position for?
I would say about a year.
Okay.
Almost a year.
What company were you with?
So I was with a couple of different companies. I started off, I was with Fedora for a little bit doing sales and marketing. During university, I was also working at Greenhouse Juice. I was there for a little bit doing marketing and merchandising. Great company. And then at the tail end, right before I got into real estate, I was with SPC, Student Price Card, doing digital strategy, which was really cool, really fun, but just wasn't where my passion was.
I think it's so funny. We all have similar backgrounds. We all went to business school, thought that was going to be our future, and turns out that's not what it was.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. And so how has it been the last 5 years? Tell us about, some of the up and downs that you've been facing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very lucky because like I said, I grew up around this business, so I knew what I was getting myself into, is how I always tell people, because I think a lot of people get into real estate blindly, right? They don't understand that it's 24 hours. They don't understand the ups, the downs, that we wear a lot of hats and all the things that come with the territory. Growing up and seeing my mom and watching her be extremely passionate about this business, but also see the toll that it does take, I was kind of mentally prepared for this job. I also had a great mentor, being my mom. She's extremely patient, and I call her like an encyclopedia of real estate. There's nothing she doesn't know. So when I got started, I was able to lean on her for absolutely everything. Any question I had, any rocky deal, getting started in terms of like lead generation, she was a huge resource for me. So she was pivotal in my early success. And then I didn't join my brother's team right away because I was a little apprehensive working with family. I worked with my mom, that's different. Working with my brother, I didn't want to jump in too soon. But once we were all on the same page, I joined my brother's team, and that has been kind of a huge turning point in my career, in both like personal successes, like career successes. He's a great mentor as well, very patient, extremely knowledgeable as well. He's been doing this around 12 years now. So him as a team lead is fantastic, and his passion is just kind of like, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Contagious. When you're around Tyler, like, it's just contagious how much you love this business, and it's refreshing too.
What was it about joining his team that kind of acted as your springboard to take a leap forward? So I know a lot of people, when they're solos, they think joining a team is a step in the wrong direction. But when I speak to someone like yourself that's done it, it's actually propelled you to new heights a lot faster.
Yeah, I mean, every team is different, right? Like every team dynamic is different, what their value proposition is. our team is very much based on value and experience for our clients. So it's less about just like a team that gives you leads and no guidance and they leave you in the deep end. Tyler's very focused on teaching. Like he has a background in teaching. He's taught it at universities. He taught the UREA courses. So he's very education based. And I think that's where our team really stands apart. For me, my apprehension from joining the team was working with family a little bit. I didn't want that to come between us in any sort of way. And I was just hesitant. I wanted to make sure that one, real estate was the right fit for me before jumping in. I didn't want to shake things up on his team and then ultimately decide maybe it wasn't the best fit. So I just kind of held off, made sure I had all my ducks in a row, made sure I was where I wanted to be in my career first. And then I jumped into the team and joined his team. I was doing well, like full transparency. I was doing very well as a solo agent. I had no qualms. I was in my eyes, I was doing well, but I knew that I could do better. And to me, I always think there's strength in numbers. I think, there's that synergy that is lost as a solo agent as well, because you lose that element of support and guidance and teamwork, right? Even as a team, even on a team now, you do all your deals solo, you do a lot of things solo, but you have that team to rely on. To me, that was really important. So that was the biggest game changer for me. And when I joined the team, that really took me from where I was as a solo agent to that next level.
I know that you guys focus a lot on the brand building. Do you think that your marketing background has a little bit to play there? And how has it helped you build the brand overall?
Yeah. So right when I got into real estate, I really wanted to build myself up on social media. And social media is one of my main forms of lead gen, probably the biggest form of lead gen for me at this point, which is great because it's fun and I enjoy it. And if you're not having fun, then why do it? So the marketing, the branding, everything else, honestly, Tyler's done an excellent job of branding the team. But then from an individual standpoint, I think my background in marketing, both to market myself on socials, has been fantastic, and creating content and everything else and making it very, very real estate focused, but engaging. And I have a very similar approach on socials to make it engaging, but educational, because I think the missing piece for a lot of young first time buyers is they don't know where to start. They don't know what they're missing. They don't know the questions to ask, right? Because so often you say, hey, let me know if you have questions. And first time buyers don't know what questions they should be asking, right? Like if I go to a mechanic and a mechanic says, hey, do you have questions? I'm going to say, I don't know, ask my dad. Like I have no idea anything about cars. So my content approach has always been very, very educational without being overwhelming, where they just like buyers are like, whoa, too much, too fast. I don't want to deal with this. So that's kind of the content side. I think my background in marketing and strategy has definitely helped me. And then on the sales side, it's 100% helped me with clients, both on listing presentations, our pitch, everything else. It's a huge value add to clients because what I can generate in value on the sale of their home, a lot of that comes from the digital marketing. So the clicks, the views, the getting their property in front of more eyes, all that comes and stems from my marketing background. So 100% does play a factor.
I think a lot of people in this industry, they stumble into it. So they were lost and didn't know what to do. It strikes me that that wasn't your situation. Like you knew what you wanted to do before you got in this business. It sounded like you have really good education behind you. You had a really good career and you made the conscious decision to get in this business. Personally, I think, and I'm probably saying this because I come from a very similar background. I was in sales and marketing in a big corporation before I came here. Although I didn't enjoy my time there, I feel grateful that I spent time there because it gives me an advantage over my competition, I feel. How did that set you up for today? I know we discussed how you use some of the marketing tactics from then to now, but how did it set you up as a human? You just strike me as having a higher level of professionalism than the average realtor.
I think
comes out.
I think that's a huge thing. And I think a lot of people, like you said, they stumble into this and they think, oh, real estate seems easy. Let me go turn a quick buck. And then they get into it and they learn very quickly that that's not true. And there's a lot more that comes with it. Again, I knew what I was getting myself into when I became a realtor, and I was fully prepared to be 24/7. Like my phone is like, I shower with my phone. My phone is always with me, right? So like we all get it. It's a huge commitment. But to your point, a little bit from the career development side, but then also the university background, I think is huge and something that's largely overlooked. I've had even other realtors be like, you went to Schulich? Why are you a realtor? I'm like, oh, whoa. Like that actually gives me a huge upper hand. Both like we have a huge responsibility to clients to give them market advice, which is, economics focused, financials focused. Like we're breaking down numbers for people. So I think the university background has definitely given me an upper hand in terms of like having conversations with investors and high level conversations about the market and being able to dissect what's truly going on with rates and, inflation and CPI and all of that, doing a deeper dive, which I enjoy. And then also, I think the university background and the corporate background gives you that upper hand in terms of being organized and scheduling and time blocking and everything else that makes a successful realtor, right? And you hear it from a lot of people that their schedule is like a Bible to them. Like they stick to their schedule, it's religious to them. If they schedule something, they do it, or they have a routine, they have all these different systems in place. And I think for me, at least, the biggest things that I took away from university, it wasn't what I was learning in the classroom, but studying for midterms, staying organized, having a part-time job and managing that with a full-time course schedule, and all the little things that you indirectly take away from that is what's kind of translated to more success in my career. So yes, from the corporate side and having that corporate experience, both in, little things like email etiquette, all that can be taught, but it does translate really well when you jump into real estate, both from the professional side and then just kind of with, being consistent with CRM, being consistent with email follow-ups, everything else. I think it blends really nicely.
One thing I liked about corporate, so like when it comes to scheduling and the way in which you communicate with people via email or on the telephone, in a corporate world, which was our training ground, there are true repercussions and they happen fast. If there's a meeting scheduled at 3 o'clock and you don't show up to that meeting, slap on the wrist the first time, but do it enough times, you're probably going to get fired.
Yeah.
Or I know a lot of realtors, they struggle to show up when they say they're going to show up every day. If you do that when someone's cutting you a check 26 times a year, they're going to fire you eventually. Where here, there are repercussions, but they're long term. If you behave in a certain way, when you look back on your 2024, you won't have made as much money as you expected, but in the immediate term, showing up to the office at 9 versus 11, or sticking to whatever your time block is, there's no repercussions. My life looks the exact same today, but you get smacked in the teeth 12 months out.
Exactly. And I think a lot of realtors, you can get comfortable, right? Because you do a couple deals, you're like, oh, okay, cool, I've made some money this year. But in actuality, we're not doing deals every day. I mean, high producing realtors, you're doing maybe a couple deals a week, but it's not the bulk of our time that we're actually negotiating and doing deals. The bulk of our time is spent either doing lead generation or marketing or everything else that goes on behind the scenes. And to your point, if you're not doing the other 99% of the work, then those deals will eventually diminish. You can only sell so many homes to your friends and family before they all have a roof over their head, right? And then they're going to be staying put for a while. So getting that new business comes from the other 99%, not just doing deals, the fancy, shiny, selling sunset part, right? Like it's the rest of the iceberg, everything that's under the water that really sets those realtors apart, which is the scheduling and showing up for yourself and making the calls, picking up the phone, doing the research, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think that's really the thing that sets people apart, whether they treat it like a job or they just treat it as a hustle.
Yeah, I always say it's treating it like a business more so too, right? Because even though we're realtors by definition, but I always see my real estate career more as a business, more entrepreneurial, because there is no one calling you at 9 a.m. saying, why aren't you at your desk? Right? It's up to you to get there.
Yeah, 100%. Taking it back a little bit to the social media and marketing aspect, because I know that's something that we all have to adapt to. It's the future of how we promote ourselves. It's how we show up. And honestly, like when clients are coming and looking at who they're going to work with, one of the first things that people are doing now is looking you up on Instagram or Facebook, and not necessarily always Google reviews. So you recently hit 10,000 followers on TikTok. Can you tell us about some of the strategies that you've implemented to help you get there?
Yeah, 100%. So TikTok is definitely a great tool for realtors. I think it's phenomenal. And I love seeing more and more realtors jump on that platform, which is fantastic. But I think I have a lot of opinions on socials from a realtor's perspective, a lot. As someone who's kind of an early adopter. And when I started making TikToks, it was me and a handful of other realtors that were posting on there. And I had a lot of people, even in my office, and you hear today, like, oh, like your silly little videos, like they're not going to get anywhere. And then you start getting leads. And then those same people are like, hey, can you show me how to do green screen? I'm like, yeah, come on. Like, I'll show you. I have no like problem helping other people with it. my idea and my strategy was always education first. Like I figured if I was adding value to my potential customers, you don't know who's watching, right? Maybe it's a first time buyer, maybe it's a 16-year-old kid. They could show their parents. You don't know who's on the other end, on the receiving end of those videos. My whole thing was always keeping like number one, professionalism, not letting that dwindle in any way, shape, or form. So professionalism, education, adding value to that potential client on the other end before they reach out, right? Not just saying, hey, if you need a realtor, call me. If you need a realtor, call me. Why would they call me? They don't know me. They don't know anything about me. They don't know what I can do for them. So that's why my videos were, again, education based to add that value before. And then I don't even really say reach out if you need a realtor. I don't really do call to actions anymore because I'm just consistently adding value. And then then I get messages saying, hey, I saw this video. I have questions about first time buyer benefits, or I saw your video. I'm looking to sell my house, or whatever it is. But people just organically reach out. So I've never really done paid ads. I tested them out when I first got in the business and didn't see a huge return. All of my content is organic, which I think is really important. It resonates with my audience. I try to be relatable, but only to a certain extent. I like to keep my private life private because I think it's very easy when you get going on social media and people say like be relatable and engage with your audience, and you see people overshare. That's entirely, I think, a personal decision. I don't like to get too personal because I'm a realtor first and foremost. And I've posted about this before that like I'm not an influencer. I don't see myself as an influencer. I'm a realtor who shares content. And I've gotten comments even on my videos, or people reaching out saying like, hey, can you share your hair care routine? Or like, hey, can you like do outfits of the day? And it is, again, easy to get caught up in 10,000 followers or X amount of followers, this many likes. Oh my God, I got 1 million views on a video. And then getting that like influencer lens. To me, it's more important to stay focused on my career and stay focused on what my career objectives are, which is transacting in real estate, helping clients buy, sell, lease, invest, whatever that may be. So I recently posted a video saying like, if you guys have questions about anything outside of the realm of real estate, message me. Like I'm here to share anything you guys want, but my content remains very real estate focused. The odd times I'll post like community focused things. Recently, I've been doing a lot of like Vaughan and Toronto outreach with community businesses and posting videos to highlight them. That to me is different because it's in my target farm areas. It's with people that live in the community, and to kind of share that spotlight with local businesses or like restaurants or what have you. But things that are more influencer based, I stay away from. Again, it's personal preference. I know a lot of realtors do dive into that side. I stay clear. I just focus on real estate.
Yeah, I think you got to do what is authentic to you. And if that's not authentic to you, then it's going to feel ingenuine to whoever's watching it. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
In terms of like posting or the content, do you have any like strategies if someone's listening that people could tap into? Like I know a lot of the conversation from all social platforms is like learning the algorithm and what those platforms prefer. Is there any tidbits or any info that you can share around that?
I try not to read into or dive into too much into like the algorithms and the strategies and like everything else. Cause like you mentioned the authenticity. To me, the most important part is I batch shoot content. So like you're not gonna want to be on camera every single day. Like some days your hair might not look good. You might not feel super confident. You might not be like able to get the words out the same way. So in a day that I feel like filming, I'll literally, and anyone can look up my TikTok or my Instagram. My Instagram, they're a little more refined, but TikTok, 99% of my videos are me in my car. My phone is on my steering wheel, nothing glamorous, and I'm just talking about the market. Okay. I'm just sharing information, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I think that's the most important thing. A lot of people will like wait until like the sun is shining and it's 4 p.m. and they have an hour and they want to edit and they like everything is perfect. To me, I've always kept the motto of like shoot first, aim later. Post the video. If it does really well, film another one like that. If it doesn't do really well, try something else. But the idea of like it has to be perfect, and then if it doesn't get a ton of likes and views and everything else, that like you messed up, it's the wrong mentality. Like you just gotta, a lot of it is volume too. Like even a lot of my videos don't have a ton of views, but you just kind of got to keep pumping it out. What I do from a strategy perspective is at the end of every month, I look at everything I posted and see what did well, what didn't do well. And then I do more of what was producing and what was performing well. I also, the biggest thing for me is staying away from negativity. I think there's a lot of negativity in the market, and there's a lot of negativity that if you post about it, you probably will get views, but it won't get you business. So I think the most important lens to keep as a realtor is what's relevant and valuable to your client and how that's actually going to translate to more business for you, right? I'm not saying you don't address what's going on in the market. Like interest rates are high, can't sugarcoat it. You know, there's negativity out there, but I've seen realtors post like, oh, like posting walkthrough videos of an apartment or a condo and saying how bad the layout is. I don't like doing that because that's somebody's home. Somebody owns that property. So things like that, like anything negative like that, I steer clear of. Tearing into other people's listing photos. You don't know the situation. Maybe it's tenanted. Maybe there's health issues. Maybe they couldn't take new photos because of XYZ. We don't know the background. We're not the listing agent. So anything cutting up other realtors, cutting up other properties, I don't do. I like to just stay on the positivity side of things. And then again, the value, the relevancy, posting articles. It's the easiest thing when people don't know what to talk about. Google Toronto real estate, and then you have literally endless possibilities of content ideas. So it's really that easy.
I imagine after this conversation, when people hear it, they're going to hop straight to Instagram and start posting.
Mhm.
But likely what will happen with a lot of people, they'll get discouraged when the result doesn't show up. So could you share how long this took before it started feeding you leads and actually showed up in the form of transactions?
Yeah, so it's definitely a process, and consistency is key because I see even with like team members or other realtors I talk to, they got like they listen to a podcast, they go to a networking seminar, they get all excited, they post like 10 stories that day, and then the rest of the week they post nothing. So like the biggest thing is consistency. And if you post a bunch of stuff and no one reaches out to you, of course they didn't. Why would they? Right? I think it's really important to put yourself in the shoes of the consumer and give them a reason to reach out to you. Right? Or whether it's a call to action, whether you're posting very, very specific to, a video specific to first time buyers, specific to someone who wants to move up in the market, right? The really general videos I feel like don't track as well because people just keep scrolling. But for me specifically, to answer your question, I think it definitely took a couple months. I was lucky because again, when I started on TikTok, it wasn't overly saturated. Not to say that people can't do it today. We've had team members that have, joined a couple months in and they're already getting leads from socials because they've been consistent with it since they started. For me, it might be a little bit different. It was a couple months in, posting consistently. And at first, there was a lot of lease leads because I was doing a lot of leases at the time. In my first year of real estate, I was pumping out leases. It was great. I was learning the market. I was learning how to do contracts, learning how to have those conversations. And I was getting a lot of lease leads through TikTok. And then my first buyer from TikTok came at least about a year in of consistently posting. So it does take time. It took some time for me to find my groove of what was working on social media to actually resonate with someone enough to then reach out and transact with me on a buy or a sell. But at this point now, I would say consistently month over month, getting, a handful of leads every single month, like quality leads on the either buy or sell side.
And I imagine you have an advantage, say, versus an internet lead where they've never seen your face, they've never heard you speak before. The person on the other side of the camera probably feels as though they already know you the day you meet, you go looking at homes or you meet for the listing presentation.
Yeah, it's a very surreal feeling and something that you kind of have to get used to when you're putting yourself out there on social media so much. Because I went on a listing appointment last Sunday and I walked in all ready to give my pitch and they were like, no, we know. They're like, we know everything about you. We know this, we know that. They practically did my pitch to me. And I was like, okay, they just kind of wanted me to walk in, meet them and show them where to sign. Like they were prepped and ready to go. I've also had buyers reach out and I've posted things of like what lists you should make or like buyer tips. And I've had buyers when I hop on like intro calls or consultations, they'll say like, don't worry, I already have like this ready. And like, I know you talked about this. So like, I know about this and my land transfer tax, I've got it saved up. So it's really cool to see how what you post actually, like how that translates on the other side and what people take to heart and how important it is for them, right? Like the things that they deem important and what they hold, what they like actually retain from what you're posting is really cool. But it is definitely an interesting feeling versus going into a cold lead because I still do other forms of lead gen, still cold calling, and sometimes you walk into a cold lead and you do the whole pitch and it goes great and sometimes great, sometimes not so great. You never know, but you definitely have a huge advantage walking into someone who's reached out to you from social media because to them it kind of feels like a friend is coming over, right? Like the their guards are down. They feel like they know you. They're not inviting some stranger into their home, which is really important too, right? Because it's a huge deal for them. They're either buying or selling their largest asset, and someone calls you on the phone. Cold calling, door knocking still works 100%. But I find for myself, I know that if I was seeking someone out, I'd want someone who I've seen interacted with at least on social media, because I think just from a personal perspective, I would feel more comfortable going that route.
Well, it's creating social proof or like social validity, kind of what I was saying before. Instead of Google reviews, it's like, how can I get to know this person, and do they align with, who I am and what I believe in? And you're able to attract just better clients that way. Do you find like you've been attracting more buyers or sellers, or is it kind of even from social media right now?
Overall, I would say like through my social media career, a big mix of buyers and sellers. Right now in this current market, actually about 50-50 right now, because it's a pretty interesting market, as I'm sure you guys know. Buyers are active, sellers want to list, but I would say a lot of my sellers are like kind of in the pipeline. They're holding off. They don't want to pull the trigger yet. Buyers, same thing. But I would say right now, very much 50-50.
In line to what I was saying before, is people want to get to know you and make sure that their values align with yours. And I know something that you're really passionate about is giving back to your communities as well as giving back to young girls. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about your foundation?
I would love to talk about my foundation. So I started Fight Like a Girl my second year in real estate. And I knew coming into real estate that I wanted to have a community element, both to be involved in my community and give back to my community, because I've always been passionate about like donating my time to different charities, volunteering, different things. So I wanted it to be something that was near and dear to my heart, that I was passionate about, and that could kind of integrate with real estate really nicely. So our team operates under the Royal LePage umbrella, who is with the Royal LePage Shelter Foundation. If you don't know about it, basically they raise money for local women's shelters, and basically anyone who's experienced violence, abuse, domestic abuse, they love these shelters because it gives them kind of like a safe haven to get back on their feet. They have different programs for them, their kids, and they're fundamental in helping women and children that have experienced abuse to, like I said, get back on their feet. So Fight Like a Girl, essentially, the whole goal is to raise money, and 100% of every penny we raise goes towards our last year. We donated everything to Yellow Brick House in Vaughan, and we do a female focused self-defense class once a year. This year, we're taking a little bit of a different approach. So we're still going to do the female focused self-defense class in the fall, but we're also going to do a couple other fitness events throughout the year. Basically, it's 100% donation based. People come out and, get to meet new people, have a really fun day, learn a little bit about what the cause is about. And we raise money for the shelters in Vaughan, or we pick a different shelter every year. So last year we raised just shy of $10,000 for Yellow Brick House, and that was through just our one event. And then we also did a golf tournament we were the charitable donation for Spark Financial's annual golf tournament. So they were instrumental in helping us raise money. They did an amazing job. It was a beautiful day and shed a lot of light on the cause. But the biggest thing for me coming into real estate, I have a background in karate. So I taught karate growing up. That was my first job ever. I did karate from the age of like 7 to 20 until I inevitably left. But it was great. It gave me a lot of confidence. And I think the biggest thing when women are out there in the world, if you lack confidence and you're not as confident, you feel a little bit like a target, but at the same time, you're not as aware. And for me, the biggest thing is a realtor. And I'm sure sometimes we're getting lock boxes behind the building. It's late, it's dark, you're alone, you're out there in the street, just kind of the only person looking out for you is you, right? And also you're meeting strangers. Sometimes it's cold leads, sometimes it's people from social media, and even more so putting myself out there on social media. You're getting people reaching out left, right, and center. You don't know. I mean, we like to assume everyone has good intentions, but it might not always be the case. So that was kind of the connecting factor between what the charity does and my experience in real estate, because I've thankfully never had any serious issues, but we've all had our run-ins of, someone a little undesirable following you to your car, or, a man making a kind of a strange, uncomfortable comment on a showing, or someone reaching out and wanting to see a property and, you don't feel super comfortable meeting a stranger. Whatever it may be, the intention of the class is everyone that comes out It's not to teach them how to fight, but it's to help them feel a little bit more comfortable and confident navigating the world when they're out there and being a lot more aware to avoid any potential situations they might find themselves in. I know there's kind of a loaded, long-winded answer about the charity, but it's kind of a passion of mine to be able to give back to the community in a way that I feel is really necessary and kind of a missing piece that a lot of girls don't get that education in martial arts. I was very lucky because I did, and I think it's helped me tremendously in life and my career. So any way that I can give back and kind of shed light on that is really important to me.
No, we really appreciate you sharing. It sounds like something, you know, everybody would like to get involved in. So how can people find out more, or how can they get involved?
Yeah, so we're getting ready. October is usually when we do the Fight Like a Girl self-defense class, but August 1st is the Spark Financial annual golf tournament. It's going to be at Copper Creek this year again. So if anyone wants information, you don't have to golf, which is the cool part. If you want to golf, great. It's a really, really fun day. Last year was awesome, and we raised a ton of money. If you want to golf, great. If you don't golf and you still want to come out and support, you can buy a ticket for just the dinner portion. So it's a little bit different than most golf tournaments. Come out for just the dinner. There's prizes, there's raffles, there's a ton of fun stuff. It's probably one of the most fun golf tournaments I've ever been to. Spark Financial definitely knows how to do a good job. And that's August 1st. So tickets are already available. If you want info, just message me. I'm very easy to find. It's Sue Mclay Realty on everywhere, all platforms. Also, if you Google me, my cell phone number, my email, everything comes up. I'm very easy to contact. But send me a message. I can give you more information on the golf tournament. And then also we're looking to do an event ideally this spring. It's not finalized, but some sort of fitness class. And it's going to be first come, first serve, probably about like 30, 40 spots. But if you want updates on it, everything's going to be on my Instagram. Everything's on the stories. Every event we post, every like donation, landing page, everything is on my Instagram. So best case, follow me on Instagram. If you want to get involved and you definitely want to attend the self-defense class in October, send me a message. I'll put you on the email list now because spots for that also do fill up pretty quick because unfortunately, we can only have and host so many. We host it. That's another thing. Northern Karate Schools in Vaughan. That's where we do the class. So it is a Vaughan class. There is parking. It's really easy to access. It's right off the 400. That's where I used to teach and train, and they've been amazing. So if anyone wants to take classes, check them out. But also that's where the event will be in October.
Awesome. We'll get all the info from you and put it in our description. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have any final questions before we let Sue go today?
I don't think so. We covered a lot, and I really appreciate your time today. It was nice getting to know you. We always end with the same question, so I can ask that. Who do you know that we should have on this podcast?
If you haven't had my brother Tyler on the podcast, which I don't think you have, 100%, I would say Tyler is probably one of the most passionate realtors I've ever met in my whole life. And I'm not biased. It's just purely, we all talk to a lot of realtors and we deal with a lot of realtors. Tyler's amazing. Also, honestly, anyone on my team, Daniel Kim, Paul DiMaria, Anthony Spano, all fantastic realtors that are passionate about this industry, have a really unique perspective, a fresh perspective, and they're high performers. So it would all be great to have on the podcast.
Amazing. Well, it's been great to get to know you, Sue, off social media and on social media. And we hope to have you back again and give us some updates on how everything's been going. We really appreciate your time.
I would love that. And Anna, you got to come out to this year's event as well.
I will, for sure. I'll message you.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm hustling, every day I'm